Hello, my beautiful and powerful Scorpio souls, and welcome back to Zodiac Unlocked. I want you to gather your energy, draw it in close, and listen with the very core of your being. Because what we are about to uncover together is not just a simple message, it is a seismic shift, an awakening of a power within you that has been dormant for far, far too long. Have you been feeling it? That deep guttural rumble in your soul, that sense of a storm gathering just below the surface of your reality. If you are here watching this right now, it is because your spirit has guided you here. It knows that a shocking Kala cosmic summons us on its way to you. And this call, my dear Scorpio, is not just unexpected news. It is the key that will shatter the chains you never even knew you were wearing, unlocking a destiny that will change absolutely everything. Before we dive into the depths of this incredible revelation, if you feel that powerful pull, that magnetic resonance with this truth, do me a favor right now. Gently tap that like button, and if you haven't already, press subscribe and join our soul family here at Zodiac Unlocked. I want to make sure you are always connected to the life-altering insights the universe has in store for you. Are you ready to begin this excavation? Let's dive in. My dear Scorpio, I need you to understand something fundamental about who you are. You did not come to this channel today seeking a simple prediction. You came here because your soul, in its infinite wisdom, has been waiting. It has been waiting for someone to finally have the courage to name the invisible weight you have been carrying your entire life, a weight you've always sensed a shadow, you've always felt but could never quite articulate. I am not here to read your future. I am here to unlock a piece of your past that has defined your present in ways you are only now beginning to comprehend. It's a piece of your history that was never spoken aloud, yet it has been the silent author of so many of your struggles. Think about it. That feeling of being a caged lion, pacing back and forth with a restless, potent energy that has nowhere to go. That deep, simmering frustration that you sometimes feel, an intensity that feels almost dangerous even to you. It's not just a personality quirk, Scorpio. It's the echo of a power that was deliberately suppressed. If you have ever felt that your very essence is too much for others, that your intensity frightens people, that you are living a life that is a pale imitation of the vibrant, powerful existence you know you were meant for, then today, the truth of why that is will finally be brought into the light. And this truth is not here to wound you. It is here to liberate you on a soul-deep level. There is a presence woven into the very fabric of your soul's history. A powerful figure in your bloodline. It could be a mother, a grandmother, a matriarch, whose name you barely know, but whose energy courses through your veins. This woman, she too, carried immense power. But unlike you, she feared it. She saw power not as a gift, but as a curse, a danger that could bring ruin and destruction. And in her fear, she made a choice. It wasn't a spoken vow, but an energetic one, a silent shadow pact with fate itself, a quiet prayer whispered into the darkness, born of a desperate need for safety and control. And your soul, my beautiful Scorpio, in its brilliant, untamed magnificence, was placed upon that altar as a sacrifice. A significant portion of your innate power was intentionally shackled, veiled from the moment you took your first breath. Not because you were flawed, but because your power was so pure, so real, so utterly transformative, that it threatened the fragile reality they had constructed from their own fears. From your earliest days, you knew you were different. You didn't just see the world. You pierced through its illusions. You didn't just hear words. You felt the intentions vibrating beneath them. You were born with a soul-level bullshit detector, an uncanny ability to know the truth, even when it was buried under layers of deception. And for this, what were you called? Too intense, too serious, too suspicious. You were made to feel that your very nature was a problem. But in truth, you were simply the mirror, a flawless, powerful mirror reflecting the secrets and shadows they couldn't bear to face in themselves. And when someone is terrified of their own reflection, their first instinct is not to heal themselves, but to shatter the mirror. In many spiritual traditions, we speak of energetic inheritance. This isn't just about karma, it's about the emotional and energetic patterns passed down through generations. Unresolved fear, especially the fear of one's own power, does not simply vanish. It is passed on like an invisible set of chains from one soul to the next. And your soul, my powerful Scorpio, is the one in this lineage that was chosen not to simply bear these chains, but to finally magnificently break them. The great spiritual master Jesus once said, "The truth will set you free." You, Scorpio, are a living embodiment of that truth. Your power is not something to be feared. It is the very force of liberation. Perhaps you have believed that your distrustful nature was a flaw, that your intensity was a burden, that your inability to just go with the flow meant you were difficult. No, you were simply standing under the immense pressure of a shadow pact you never agreed to. And today, I invite you to begin the process of laying that burden down. Not with anger, but with a deep, soul-shaking remembrance. Try this with me now. Close your eyes for just a moment. Take a deep, cleansing breath, and ask your soul this one question: what power am I carrying that I have been taught to fear? You don't need the answer to come in words. Just feel. The moment you ask the question is the moment you insert the key into the lock. I am telling you this not to create resentment, but to validate what you have always known in the deepest chambers of your heart. You are not broken. You are not too much. You are a profoundly powerful being who has been standing on the battlefield of unspoken family secrets, and you are still standing. Let this cycle of suppression end here. Let it end with you. Because you, Scorpio, have not failed. You have simply been honoring a soul contract so ancient it was written in shadow. And today, you are awake enough to burn that contract to ashes. If you have ever felt that your own power frightens you, write "I am ready to reclaim my power" in the comments below. Let your soul finally declare its intention, not in a whisper, but in a roar. Scorpio, let's go deeper now. We need to talk about the nature of your power, this incredible inner fire you carry. This isn't a gentle decorative light, meant to be pretty and admired from a distance. Oh no. The power you carry is a blazing inferno of truth. It is an alchemical fire, born not to be praised, but to enter the darkest, most hidden corners of reality and transmute everything it touches. It doesn't just illuminate, it purifies. It burns away illusion, deception, and everything that is not rooted in absolute authenticity. And because of this, you became the threat they could never name. Not because you were malicious, but because your very existence, your silent, powerful presence, radiated a truth that they had spent their entire lives trying to escape. Have you ever asked yourself these questions? Why do people who claim to love me seem so threatened by my success or my happiness? Why does my silence make people so incredibly nervous? Why is it that when I simply exist in my own truth without apology, I am accused of being intimidating or aggressive? You have wondered, what is so wrong with me? I must be a burden. I need to shrink myself, tone down my intensity, be less Scorpio. But the truth, my magnificent friend, is that you don't need to be less of anything. You only need to understand this one profound concept. You are a force of nature that they cannot control. And an uncontrollable force is never ever welcomed by those who build their kingdoms on lies and manipulation. There was someone in your life, someone you looked to for love, for validation, for a sense of safety. You waited for their approval, for that look of pride, for a simple acknowledgement of your strength. But they could not give it to you. Not because you were unworthy of it, but because your very presence, even as a child, terrified them. They looked at you, and in your clear, piercing gaze, they saw themselves. They saw their own weakness, their hidden agendas, their unhealed wounds, the compromises they had made with their own souls. And instead of using your light as an inspiration to heal themselves, they chose the easier path. They tried to extinguish your fire, because it is always easier to blame the mirror than to face the reflection. The ancient spiritual text, the Dhammapada, states, "Not in the sky, not in the midst of the sea, not if we enter into the clefts of the mountains, is there known a spot in the whole world where a man might be freed from an evil deed." In other words, you cannot escape your own truth. You, Scorpio, are that inescapable truth for others. You are the living, breathing proof of the authenticity they abandoned, and you have paid the price for their cowardice with a sense of profound isolation. You are not crazy, Scorpio. You are a living, breathing catalyst for transformation. You weren't born to fit into their comfortable little boxes. You were born to shatter them. You were born to end a generational cycle of secrets and fear that no one else had the strength to confront. This is why you have always felt like an outsider, a lone wolf, a sovereign king or queen in a world of pawns. When you see through their games, they call you paranoid. When you feel things with profound depth, they call you dramatic. When you speak an uncomfortable truth, they accuse you of being cruel. But you are not wrong. You are a soul carrying a fire that requires no justification, no softening, no apology to make it more palatable for the masses. You are real. And because you are real, you naturally burn away everything that is fake. Perhaps you have blamed yourself for being unloved in the way you deserved. Perhaps you have ached with a loneliness so deep it felt like a black hole in your chest. But it is precisely because you are a pure alchemical fire that you could never be part of their shadows. You could never be comfortable in a place where your soul was suffocating. You are the wild hawk they could not cage, and that is why they resented your wings. But you are still here. You are still burning. Even if you once flickered, even if they doused you with their doubt and fear, your pilot light never ever went out. And that is a testament to your incredible, indomitable spirit. Take a moment. Remember, when was the first time you realized your truth made someone else uncomfortable? The first time you knew a secret no one had told you. The first time you understood that the love you were being offered was a cage in disguise. You are not alone in this. Your soul has always known. And today, it is guiding you back to yourself, back to that original, untamable fire that needs no one's permission to exist. Stop doubting your instincts. Stop shrinking to fit into spaces that were never meant to contain your magnificence. You weren't born to be a watered-down, comfortable version of yourself. You were born to be the version of you that is devastatingly, breathtakingly, and unapologetically true. And on this path, you are not walking alone. I am here. Thousands of other Scorpio souls are here walking this path of reclamation with you. It is not an easy path, my friend, but it is the only path that leads to true power and true freedom. If I could implant one single truth into the very marrow of your bones right now, it would be this: you are not the problem. You have always been the solution. You are the alchemist in the great healing of your soul's lineage, and the fire you carry needs no adornment. It only needs to be unleashed. In the next part, we will discuss the fated call, the cosmic summons, and why it is arriving for you at this exact moment. Because it is not a warning, Scorpio. It is your coronation. Have you ever been punished simply for being too powerful or too honest? Share a yes in the comments if you have not to complain, but so the truth of your power can finally be seen and honored by this community. Scorpio. Sometimes the universe doesn't send a gentle whisper. For a soul as powerful as yours, it sends a crack of thunder. It orchestrates a seismic event that causes your entire world to tilt on its axis. This shocking call may not be a literal phone call. It could be a sudden revelation, a dream so vivid it feels more real than waking life, an unexpected confession from someone, or a piece of information you stumble upon that suddenly makes all the broken pieces of your life click into a perfect, terrifying, and liberating whole. That message, that event that summons, it did not come to frighten you. It came to activate you. It came to confirm the deepest truth you've carried in your bones since birth. Your life has been lived under the shadow of a profound illusion. For your entire life, you have been navigating a world that felt fundamentally misaligned with your spirit. You walked among people, but felt a profound sense of otherness. You played by the rules, but still felt like you were losing a game you didn't understand. You tried to trust, but your intuition was always screaming that something was wrong. And because you couldn't pinpoint the source of this dissonance, you turned your incredible power inward against yourself. You thought, maybe I am the problem. Maybe I am unlovable. Maybe I am destined to be alone. You began to wear a mask to moderate your intensity, to pretend to be less perceptive than you are, all to make others feel secure. But behind that carefully constructed mask of control, what was there? An ancient wound, pulsing with power, a righteous anger that was never given a voice, a profound sense of betrayal that no one ever acknowledged, the inescapable feeling that you were not the protagonist in your own life, but a powerful character trapped in someone else's tragic story. Scorpio, you are not imagining this. You are correct. The story you have been living was not your own. And that summons, that fated call, was no coincidence. It arrived with divine timing to place a full stop at the end of that chapter. It is the bell tolling not for an ending, but for a magnificent, powerful beginning. In esoteric traditions, this is known as a catalytic event, a moment when the accumulated potential energy of your soul suddenly converts into kinetic energy. It's when a truth you only sensed in the shadows is dragged kicking and screaming into the brilliant, unforgiving light of day. And once you see it, you can never ever unsee it. The Bible says, the truth will set you free. For you, Scorpio, truth is not just a key. It is a battering ram. It is the force that shatters the prison door. Your soul has been behind for far too long. That intensity you feel in your solar plexus as you listen to this is not anxiety. It is the roaring of your own caged power finally being seen, finally being validated, and finally being given the key to its own release. Do you know why you obsess over betrayal, Scorpio? Why a broken promise or a single lie can feel like a declaration of war? It is because for you, truth is sacred. It is the highest currency, and that summons you are about to receive, or perhaps have just received, is not the start of the war. It is the universe handing you the final, undeniable proof that your perception was right all along. It is the end of you waiting for others to admit their wrongs, the end of you needing to justify your own instincts, the end of the long, lonely years where you mistook your chains for your destiny. Let's take a sacred pause together. Sit perfectly still for a moment. Feel the powerful, steady rhythm of your own heart. It is not beating for them. It is not beating to please anyone. It is beating because you are still here. You are still alive. You are still standing, holding the divine sovereign power to choose again, to declare, I am not what they tried to make me. I am not the vessel for their fear. I will no longer carry the weight of their secrets. My power is mine, and my life starting today begins on my own terms. This call might be loud, or it might be deceptively quiet, a secret accidentally revealed, a document you find, a sudden memory that surfaces with crystal clear clarity. But no matter its form, you will recognize it. Your body will react before your mind does. Your soul will know, not through logic, but through a profound, cellular-level jolt of recognition. And when it comes, do not try to intellectualize it away. Do not doubt it. You only need to let it detonate inside you, like the first sun rising in a universe you never knew existed. Scorpio, sometimes the one thing a powerful soul needs is not an apology. It's validation. It's for someone to look them in the eyes and say, I see you, I believe you. What you sense is real. You are not paranoid. You are not broken. You have been right all along. It's just that no one had the courage to admit it. And if today, through this message, I can be that person for you, then I am humbled and I am ready. I am here to say, you have always been right. You are not imagining it, and you need no one's permission to reclaim what is rightfully yours. Let your heart settle now, because what comes next is the most crucial part of your journey. A place where you will not just understand the truth, but where you will begin to wield it. No more masks, no more suppression, no more waiting for a savior, because the fire you carry is more than enough to light your own way out of the darkness and burn a new path into existence. If there is one lie about yourself that you are now ready to release, what would it be? Write it down in the comments, not as a complaint, but as a declaration of your own liberation. Scorpio, some chapters of our lives do not need to end with a polite handshake or a tearful reconciliation. Some stories do not require the villain to confess for the hero to be free. Some truths, when they finally arrive, do not come to inspire a negotiation. They come to arm you for your revolution. They come to let you finally fully breathe, to breathe like a sovereign being returning to their throne. You do not need to win the old story, Scorpio. You do not need a verdict from their court. You do not need to argue or explain or wait for them to finally nod and admit, yes, you were right. We feared your power and we tried to contain you. You only need to turn your back and walk away, not in defeat, but in glorious absolute victory. You have spent so much of your precious life forced trying to understand why they treated you that way, why your light triggered their darkness, why your very presence felt like a judgment to them. You have analyzed, strategized, and even prayed, trying to find a logical reason for their illogical behavior. But Scorpio, sometimes there is no beautiful reason for an ugly act. Sometimes you are simply a pure, powerful soul who encountered fear, and that fear tried to consume you, not because you deserved it, but because you were the fire they could not control. You do not need another reason. You need a new reality, a reality where you are no longer a character in the story they wrote, but the divine author of your own epic. You were not born to live forever, in the preface of their Book of Lies. You are here to write your own magnificent saga, starting on this very page. The divine did not drag you through the underworld just to leave you standing in a patch of sterile artificial light, afraid to move. It didn't guide you through the fire just so you could become numb. It guided you through the crucible so you would know, without a shadow of a doubt, that you are indestructible. So you would know that you are worthy of freedom, worthy of a love that does not demand you shrink, worthy of a presence that doesn't require you to please, worthy of breathing without apologizing for the space you occupy. In alchemy, the final stage is not about turning lead into gold. It is about the prima materia, the raw, chaotic, original substance realizing its own divine nature. You are not turning your pain into something else. You are realizing that the pain, the power, the darkness, and the light were all part of the divine substance of you all along. You are not your mother's fear. You are not your grandmother's sacrifice. You are not the disappointment they projected onto you. You are you, free, aware, and beginning again without needing a single soul's permission. You no longer have to carry their burdens to be seen as loyal. You no longer have to swallow your truth to be seen as nice. You no longer have to endure their toxicity to prove you are strong. From this moment forward, your power belongs to you. No one can steal it. No one can dim it. And no one can ever trade it for your silence again. Take a deep, powerful breath, Scorpio, and feel this in every cell of your body. You are no longer where you used to be. You are no longer the child who had to see secrets to survive. You are no longer the soul who had to build walls to protect a vulnerable heart. You are no longer the one who carried the weight of the world and was called too intense for it. Now, you are you, a new Scorpio, not hoping to be understood, but knowing your own truth, not begging to be loved, but radiating a self-love so powerful it becomes a magnetic force, not needing to justify your past, but using it as the fuel for your magnificent ascent. You only need to live, powerfully, freely, truthfully. If today is the day you pause to reclaim, to rise, and to be reborn, where will you begin? What is the first sovereign act you will take for yourself? Write it down as a sacred vow to your own soul. Because the first allegiance is never to another. It is always and forever to the truth within. Thank you for walking this incredible, intense journey with your whole heart. I know it is not easy to face a truth of this magnitude, but you did it with the breathtaking courage that only a Scorpio soul could ever possess. I wish you, my dearest Scorpio, always enough fire, not only to forge your own path, but to serve as a beacon for all the other souls who are still lost in the dark. Your rebirth is now.